Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports. Sleeper picks, breaking down. We'll do a little home run derby, a little summer league. We will draft, have a little competition for the NFL MVP. MVP. We'll all throw in some money, so that should be fun. Hit us up with any questions. We got the chat in front of us now, so we can respond. We can, uh, do whatever and be interactive. Brian, Josh, Brad, what's going on, guys?
Uh,
Nothing, man. Excited. I literally think the home run derby is just so funny, like that people bet like hard-earned money on it. I put money on my guy just to get it done today, just because I like him. I have no science behind it, no handicapping behind it, but it should be fun.
What price did you get, by the way, on bets? Because we can go through the odds here and see what's the best
Um,
odds.
man,
Saw he
like
was 10 to 1 or so for bets.
yeah, I think I got him like 8. Let me see.
10 to 1
Oh
on
wait.
DraftKings.
oh, really?
Excuse me.
Interesting.
Open
Because he
bet.
was at like 18 at one point, like a few days ago.
Bets
Open bet.
was?
Yeah.
That seems like a long number. I'll just read the odds.
That was
DraftKings has,
FanDuel.
Alonzo plus 310, Guerrero plus 370, Julio Rodriguez 4 to 1, Luis Robert plus 550, Adolis Garcia plus 700, Betts 10 to 1, Arozarena 11 to 1, Adley Rushman 18 to 1. Look, I just think, I've gotten burned. I've bet the home run derby pretty much every year. Last year I had Julio Rodriguez and Soto won, and they have this rule where you're not supposed to pitch until the other ball has ended,
Yeah.
and Soto was not following the rules. Some guys were following the rules, some guys weren't. It was really just a catastrophe. I said, you know what? I can't really bet this stuff anymore. So look, if you throw a few bucks on it, have fun. I'm not going to convince you not to bet it. I just have a hard time with it. This isn't a real event. The scoring gets a little wonky. The officiating, they don't really regulate it. So to me, I remember last year there was a controversy with how many pool holes actually hit and if the ball actually went out. To me, look, you guys can have it. There's plenty of other stuff to bet on. I'd rather just take the night off. But
He's
anything jump out to you guys here?
he's still 20 to 1. Mookie's still 20 to 1 on FanDuel.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus 2,000 over here.
That's
So
Wow.
that's a
That's a nice.
massive
I mean,
discrepancy on the two biggest books in the
I take
country.
back what I said. Mookie Betts 20 to 1. I might have to jump in.
Yeah, like
I mean, maybe if you have a free bet or something on FanDuel, right? I mean, might as well just.
let's break it down. Let's break it down, right? Like Pete Alonso's the goat of hitting home runs, like home run derbies. Vlad Guerrero, I don't want to bet on because he's too big, gets too gassed too fast. Robert Lewis Jr. hits the ball a mile effortlessly. Julio Rodriguez, big tank, still hits the ball deep. I don't know much about Garcia. Sorry, Randy. Love the Rays. You're not winning. Roshman, maybe. Mookie Betts, he's electric, but I want like the big guys who hit this effortless. So or have like a big tank. So probably like Alonso, Robert, or Rodriguez for me.
There's Brad doing his thing where he names like 7 of the 8 people, so just in case, like,
I literally just said 3 people, and I said I'd
He
pick one
ruled
of
the
them.
Arozarena out too, which I wouldn't rule anybody out in this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're taking batting practice. A lot of it comes down to the pitcher. Like sometimes if a guy's pitcher's wild, he can't get in a groove, and that can throw you off where you got to hit him quickly. So a lot of it you're just handicapping the pitcher. Which look, I mean.
Yeah,
Again, if you want to bet it, have some fun with it. To me, I probably, to be honest, I'm probably going to end up with a bet on Mookie 20 to 1. Like, why not? Just have
let's just
maybe
ride
throw
Mookie and
50
have
bucks
fun.
on it and just have a little, maybe have a nice little hit here. But
As we
I'm not
kind of
going
say
crazy.
too, it's hard to like handicap this event in totally. But I know Mookie's one of those guys too. If you look at like the longest home run odds, he's pretty low down there, and like in terms of long home runs, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because some of these guys that hit these 500 yards, like like moonshots, aren't the guys necessarily have the stamina to do it the entire time. So if Mookie's just getting over the wall, like 21's not a bad shot. And
Yeah.
like I said, I know I have some free bets on FanDuel, so we talked about putting real hard-earned money on it. I think that this is an event where those free bets come in handy just because, hey, I had this promo bet,
Right.
got $5 back, might as well throw it on something fun. So that's kind of where this event turns into me, where I don't really try to handicap it or bet units on it, but just to kind of have some fun with it.
Yeah, if I was gonna bet anything with any sort of like actual, portion of my bankroll, it would be on something that's a little bit more of a prop, like longest and stuff like that. Like it's interesting that the longest home run prop is on FanDuel is what 45.5 on DraftKings. It's 490.5. Like I wanted to find it for an under, to be honest with you, because one of the things I found was that in the StatCast era, no ball has traveled further than 470 feet. at T-Mobile here. So, it's supposed to be like 70 degrees ish and dropping right when this is going on. And then there's not really much wind. I don't know if the dome is going to be all the way open, or how open it'll be, right? Because it's like a retractable and they can put it wherever they want. But if it's open, it's also, I think, helps the under in that sense. Like, I don't think balls are going to travel as far out there in Seattle. It's minus 140 on DraftKings for the under 490.5. And I just think it's interesting too that when you look at that compared to the player individual, like thank you, Tone Stamp, the individual totals and distances that they're going to hit, the highest player is Vlad at 480 feet and a half. So, but yet the total right on DraftKings for any player is 490.5. So it's like that's a nice 10-foot discrepancy too there.
And I kind of mentioned before the show, but there is like a boost on DraftKings for 50% on the Derby. So minus 140, if you want to use that, you can get the under at plus money.
$25 max, I think at least it was. For
Yeah,
me.
I know, but like we said, we talked about not putting real money on them and this and that.
Yeah.
So it's like a decent way to use the boost, I think, to get that to plus money.
Oh boy, I just did something here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they have exact outcomes, like who's going to beat who in the finals. All right, like now I'm interested.
Now you're kind of in.
Bets over Garcia exactly in the finals, 100-1. I mean, come on.
Okay, let's look at the round one matchups. I didn't even look at matchups. Like,
Do we have
to? But some of these are interesting, right? Like Alonso and Rodriguez go against each other in round one.
What's the
bets? Alonso minus 170 and Rodriguez plus 138. Like, this is interesting, right? Like Mookie Betts versus Vlad in round one.
Oh, he draws Vlad in round one. He's probably a big under. Vlad's probably a big favorite.
Yeah, minus 215. The only bigger favorite is Robert over Rauschman.
Yeah, Robert's had a good year. I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like can you parlay any of this stuff? I mean, you could do because there's nothing else going on sports wise. They give you so many options to bet it. So I mean, the full menu is open here. There's probably some advantage to be had. I don't know. Did you guys do a show on this morning, Brian?
We did not. We were gonna do me and Ryan. We were gonna do it with Eli and stuff tonight, but they dropped out. So we'll probably cover it a little bit. But yeah,
I'm sure you will.
You could get if you parlay Robert and Alonso, it gives you plus 122. But I think Julio's gonna be juiced in that first round,
right?
Like he's got the home crowd behind him. Like
sometimes that can backfire. There's a little pressure. Right. You swing a little too hard. I mean, I don't.
True.
I'm not
betting this. Like, what am I talking about,
dude? Yeah.
This is one of those things, and this is just the psychology of a bettor, the FOMO. Like, hey, I looked at something at 100-1, and I thought about betting it. Now I I feel obligated to bet it. So I'll probably take bets at 20-1, maybe for a few bucks, and then just bets over. I don't know what's a decent bet here. Bets over. Let's see. I said bets over Garcia was 100-1. I mean, that's fun. Even if you get them they're both in the finals. You can. That's a great way to hedge. Bets over Rushman's 120-1. Bets over Rosarena's 60.
So the only thing about Rushman is he could hit from the left side of the plate if he wants, and it's a shorter right field fence. Blah blah.
Plus 10-minute quarters.
My God. See,
you guys are getting relevant information here.
I'll just say this. Tone Stamp says Ryan has a lot of plays too. But yeah, you mentioned that there's so much analytical stuff that goes into it. So I'm excited that if you're going to watch the show at 5, Tone Stamp won't be there. But Ryan apparently has a lot of these home run angles. So it's above what I do for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some stuff, with Ballpark Helper and all that. There's some of those places where you can see like expected home run rate from each guy at T-Mobile and stuff like that. Like that's all available. Mookie apparently does have one of the higher home run rates at T-Mobile when he's played there. I also think he's probably played there a bunch less. Haven't been in the NL the last 3 years, but either way, I would say like the only thing I would ever like put real units on at this point, like I'll sprinkle on Mookie because now we talked about it and I can't possibly not do that. If he wins, I'll hate myself. So I'll spend $50 to not hate myself. And then from there, like maybe like find a way to put a unit on these distances. I know Frog DFS was up in the chat talking about already hitting the longest bomb under 490.5. And I think I'll just hit that here in a sec as well.
Did Frog say 470 or 490?
470. No, he was referencing the 470 bomb that was like this is the longest it's ever gone, and it was a jack. I think Ohtani almost got there last year too. He hit it like 460 in there, but obviously he's not participating, and that level of power isn't on everybody's radar. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see if Bet Rivers has any. Bet Rivers is the one that's within driving distance where I can just jam the kiosk. Let's see if they have any. Oh, they got home run derby. I think they just have. Let's see. Yeah, they have longest home runs. I don't think they have head to head in the finals. Which, if I'm going to bet this, which I probably am going to now, I want something with long odds where I can just have it on in the background, just have a little sweat, and not get mad if I lose. Which
Yeah.
and look, at 100 to 1 now, if I get screwed on like some pitch clock thing or somebody's cheating or somebody doesn't follow the rules, I'm going to be pissed. So I really don't want to participate, but I'm probably going to end up with something on this.
Oh man,
We're probably good to move on this, right? We probably exhausted this 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. NFL quarterback draft. So NFL MVP drafts. We're going to go around. We have our draft order. What is our draft order?
The draft order. Oh, where is it? It disappeared.
I just know I was first.
Yeah, it was Brian, Will, me, Josh. MVPs. All right, here we go.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go in that order. It's going to be a snake draft, and we'll base it off. I think we're using FanDuel odds, and let's just say we'll base it off $100. So if you get the guy that wins the MVP and he's plus 1,400, you're plus 1,400, and we're going to do this for all the awards. We're all going to throw in, what do we agree? $50. We're going to make this competitive.
$50 is fun.
We'll do this for all the awards. Whoever has the most points, whoever's won the most, wins the pool. So we'll make a little pool out of it. You guys can chime in on the chat, and we'll start here. We'll kind of talk through our picks. We'll go through it, and yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say my only question was: so do we decide how many we're gonna take for each award? Like how much?
I feel like we can go until we can just say, you know what, we're
Yeah, we'll start knowing when we're scraping the ball of the barrel and we're like,
yeah,
oh man, I just took CJ Stroud at 150.
Then 5 picks is going to be tough, just so y'all know.
Yeah, so I was going to say 3 or 4 rounds probably makes most sense. But what I was going to say was just to clarify.
I'm trying to fill content here, Brian. I don't know if you. I mean, it's the summer. We have home run derby going on.
I'm trying to clarify for the people watching as well.
Yeah.
And so my other question. So to make sure that it's all known, our goal is really to get one winner, obviously, and so your first round is probably most likely, and then like that's where you start longer shots coming in. So you don't get penalized for losing, say for like one of your picks, but you just want to try to hit on one of them.
I think I think the goal, the way I'm looking at it, you're trying to find the best value each pick.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think this is just, hey, what's the best bet on the board?
It's clear to the people watching that we're not necessarily, because my first round pick is not going to be like a favorite guy, but it's going to be So
no, because if it was just, hey, let's pick the guy most likely to win MVP, then it would be such an advantage to go first, and it'd be boring. We'd all just be going in order of the odds. I think just, hey, this is the best value. So with that, before we start, I will say, just in terms of a real betting standpoint, there's not a lot that jumps out to me that, hey, I really want to bet this.
Exactly.
I think
took Patrick Mahomes as a bet.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mahomes won it his second year. Remember, he never played before. He only played one game, and he won the MVP at 80 to 1. Lamar did the same thing the next year at like 75, 80 to 1. And the books are just not going to get crushed on 75, 80 to 1 every year. So they said, screw it. We're just going to slash the prices on the quarterbacks, and we're not going to get beat for 80 to 1 again. So I do think there's a little bit of a hard time finding value. But let's start. Brian, you're up first. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, this is going to come as a homer pick, but my first pick in the first round was going to be Jalen Hurts. Solely because it's one of those things. It's 12 to 1 on FanDuel if we're using those odds, and we talk about you're not going to get burned on 7 to 1 on Allen, Burrow, or Mahomes. I think at 12 to 1, I mean he was kind of the favorite for most of the year. He hurt his shoulder. I think this year coming around for the Eagles, their schedule gets a little bit harder, which means their record might be a little bit worse. But I also think it helps his stats a lot because there were so many games last year where the Eagles were up, 44 to 20, hand it off, don't let them get hit, don't let them throw the ball too much. So I think his stats could increase, and the big thing too is the tush push, the QB sneak the Eagles ran. They almost try to make it illegal. It's still legal, so I think the touchdowns for the rushing side will be there. And I kind of mentioned earlier that I think Swift's addition to this team will help, like the check down thing and the check down and the gadget plays to help him with the passing yards. So I think at 12 to 1, it's a good.
Do you worry a little bit the rugby play is more risk for injury if you're always doing that? You got people shoving them from behind, people just whacking them constantly. I mean, always a strong guy.
I guess the other thing too is when you're factoring in best value, I like the idea of getting a guy at 12 to 1 over. I mean, it's not like Burrow's not taking hits at 7 to 1 or Josh Allen at 7 to 1 taking hits. I think it's just like you said. That's why I wanted to clarify for people watching in terms of the method behind picking. It's not just picking necessarily the favorite but I think the value is there.
And I was really looking forward to having the 4th pick and possibly getting Jalen Hurts with it at 12-1. And
Yeah.
then you made him the 1st pick. And that, I mean, it's a good play because the number, I think, right? Like in terms of that.
And he's not going to be there at 9, so.
Right. No, that's for sure. But
All right.
not, I'm with it. And yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about it and just to basically say everything that you just said, which was like a really good team that lost in the Super Bowl by not a lot, just got better. So, and retained everybody they needed to. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
It's funny you say that because I was really hoping to get the 3rd or 4th pick because I knew he'd be around, but
Yeah.
I still was going to pick him first at 12-1 no matter where I got, so it just happened to be first.
Yeah.
Frog DFS is drinking early today. He says good pick. So okay, sure.
If I had first overall, I was drafting Patrick Mahomes. Like I wasn't going to think twice about it.
All right. Well, it is my pick, and Brad made the mistake of tipping his hand, so I will pick Patrick.
Well,
Mahomes.
I knew you were going Patrick Mahomes.
I was. I really wasn't. I really wasn't.
Shut up. You were. You know you were. Really?
I was undecided. Yeah. So I got Mahomes 7-1.
So more interesting than talking about why you should take Patrick Mahomes, because we've done that for the last 4 years. Why wouldn't he win this award? Like, are you worried at all about the
voter
sort of
fatigue? We saw what happened with Jokic. The voter fatigue sets in. Other than that, look, he's the best player. There's similarities to Jokic. There's similarities to like LeBron, where he could win it every year. But unlike LeBron, he's gonna play every game. Barring an injury. It's going to be a quarterback on a double-digit win team. I mean, the Chiefs, I know it's a tough schedule, but they're probably going to win 11 or 12 games. He's probably going to put up video game stats, and you just put this one in your pocket, and he's going to be one of these guys that's in the mix. So Mahomes at 7-1 is in the bank for me, and it's not sexy, but again, a lot of these just aren't sexy. You go down the line, all these guys. I mean, there's 3 guys, and we're looking at FanDuel's odds. 3 guys are 7-1. 1 guy's 9-1. Hurts 12-1. Lamar's 15-1. I mean, there's just not that many guys where you're getting monster payouts. So I'd love to do something sexy off the board and just, some real value pick. But you know what? 7-1 is you're probably going to look at this November, December. He's probably not going to be 7-1. He's probably going to be 3-1, 4-1, 2-1, something like that. So Mahomes 7-1 is off the board. And up next is
I have a question about
Mahomes,
which is like, do we think that there is anything to like this year's group of receivers and weapons around him is probably worse than the last couple, even than last year?
I think it's better. I think it's not worse. I think he has an opportunity to build different relationships. Like last year, where you're saying Juju, he lost Juju, but he has Sky Moore a second year. He has Kadarius Toney for a second year. He has Justin Ross for a second year, even though they didn't actually play games together. I think they have a more chance for continuity. Like I'm not rating Juju. Like Juju was okay for them,
Yeah,
I think you put high school receivers on there, and he's going to tear it up. He is
that's
just
my
ridiculous.
That's kind of my question. Do we even care who it is? Yeah.
No.
Nope.
I don't care.
Fair.
All right.
And especially as long as Kelsey's there. But yeah.
I'm actually bypassing the top 2 favorites, the last top 2 favorites. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence at 16-1. Trevor Lawrence is playing in a division where they could probably run the table, playing in a system that's going to be QB friendly. And he's a marketable player, so he'll get a little bit of that extra bump. So I like my 16-1 price on Trevor Lawrence.
Damn. Once again, like I was sort of looking at guys that were rated around like 4th, 5th, and then like 10th, 12th, like when I might be picking next, and like a lot of those guys was where I thought that they might be going. So now we're looking at Mahomes off the board, Hurts off the board, Trevor Lawrence off the board. And I really, I'll just take Joe Burrow. Honestly, it was between him and Herbert, but I'm believing in the Bengals once again. And there's, look, Jamar Chase, obviously would love for him to be healthy. All 3 of those dudes, between Higgins, and why am I forgetting their second best wide receiver? Or not second, third, Taj Boyd, but all 3 of them, between Boyd and Higgins and Jamar Chase, they all missed a bit of time. And I think if any of them can stay a little bit healthier, the offensive line got a bit better, which is huge to keep him upright, obviously. So it was between him, obviously, and Herbert really at 13-1, but I just don't like the Chargers ever. And I don't know how healthy their wide receivers stay. We already took unders on Keenan. And we're talking about Mikey Williams not being able to play as much either. So yeah, I mean, they're going to be good, I think, but I know the Chargers underachieving, etc. I'm not taking Herbert in that situation. And by the way, and Allen as well. Like the reason I faded him, and I'm going to make my next pick, but it's not going to be Allen because I have 2 in a row here. But fading him again, we've talked about that. There's something to the fact that like the AFC East and NFC East are playing each other and have the hardest schedules of anybody as a result, and they're just going to beat the crap out of each other. But I'm still taking Aaron Rodgers.
Damn, I was about to take Aaron Rodgers. He was my next, and I said, Brad, don't write it down because I know there's a chance you missed out on him.
And I was like, I know my guys are going to be taking this.
I was honestly going to take him with my first pick before Brad started talking about Mahomes. You know what? Let me just take Mahomes.
So I'll let you guys.
Although I will say I like it, I don't love it. I think the fact that he's won 2 out of the last 3, and it's literally a popularity contest, and he's not the most popular guy, whether it's the vaccines, whether it's the retire, not retire. So I don't know that there's going to be an appetite to give it to him, but I'm high in the Jets. And again, if you're going to win 11 or 12 games, your quarterback's going to be in the mix. It's going to be one of those guys. So at 16-1, I think he's going to play well. He's got weapons. He's got a good defense.
New York market.
New York market. Good point. Very good point.
New York market. And that's the thing about all of it is like all the stank around Aaron Rodgers as like this elitist, annoying dude is kind of just washed away when he's 8-1, 9-1. If they have a ridiculously good record or something like that, they come out that hot. Even if he's 4-0, 5-0, like I think he's just back to being the golden boy a lot more. And I think this is the best sort of group of talent that he's had around him.
Absolutely.
In like 6, 7, 8 years.
And then a good defense. They were first in the league in yards per play on defense, second in points per play, points allowed on defense. It's a legit defense.
Yeah. So my first 2 picks there, we got Burrow and A-Rod in the fold. 16-1 for A-Rod.
What do we go back to Brad, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to grab Josh Allen here. I was hoping to go Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not going to let Josh Allen just go into someone else who is going to build a stronger team. I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but we just talk about popularity, big arm. If
7-1, right?
Season, yeah, 7-1. So I'm going Josh Allen.
Don't hate it. I will go here. So let's see. Off the board so far, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Hurts, Rodgers, Lawrence. All right, I'm up here. Jeez. I think he's got better receivers. I really worry about him staying healthy, but I think people are sleeping a little bit on Lamar. The idea that teams like the Atlanta Falcons, hey, I'm not going to trade for Lamar Jackson. Teams like the Colts, hey, I don't want to trade for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is an elite player. He's got better weapons. I think the rookie will help him. Flowers, I think, Beckham, Bateman, and then you throw in Andrews. It's actually a decent group of receivers. Not impossible they win the division. They're always in the mix for the playoffs. Hell, they almost, as much as everyone loves Cincy, they almost beat Cincy with Tyler Huntley last year in the playoffs. If Huntley just tries to go low instead of going high, they probably sneak in and win that game on the road in Cincy with no Lamar. But I think it's a better team. We know they're always pretty good on defense. They got the best kicker ever. Not impossible they win 11 games. I will go with a bounce back here. I'll take Lamar, and I'm getting a decent number here at 15-1. I must say, I like Lamar at 15-1. Lamar and Lawrence having about the same price, like to me, I think is a little crazy. Feel free to shit on each other's picks. I think it's more fun if we shit on each other's picks.
No, I actually was going to give you a compliment because
I don't like
that. I just think it's awesome. We talk about narrative and this and that, and Lamar also does have like that weird people like to root for. I don't know, the whole pay Lamar, don't pay, like this whole thing. There's something there. So am I mistaken? I'm writing all this down, so I'm up, but.
But I was gonna say, do you guys not agree? Like teams that haven't had a quarterback in forever, I don't want Lamar. He's this, that.
Yeah,
I don't want Lamar. What are you watching?
What do you want? Yeah,
I know he's got to stay on the field. This is 2 years in a row. He's missed a large chunk of the season. I don't care how good you are, you got to stay on the field. But man, to say I don't want Lamar, I think is crazy for some of these teams.
Like I said, I was writing all this down. Is Herbert still on the board?
He's still on the board. Yes,
Herbert. I'll take Herbert at 8.
That was who I was between.
Yeah, I was between Herbert or Jackson. So you took the other guy, but I think 9-1. Like I said, we all kind of talk about we don't really trust anything coming out of the Chargers, but the stats would be there, so that's half the battle. The stats should be there. He throws a ton. He just has a huge arm, and they're usually down a lot of these games too. So he's just airing the ball out. So I'll take that and hope their record falls into place because that's the biggest worry with him is.
Do you know why I passed on him and went with Lamar? Because you probably have to win the division. It's going to be hard to win this as a wild card, I think. And I just think with the Chiefs there. And I thought about taking Mahomes and having Herbert, and then I just got the division basically covered. But I don't know. Like you said, the Chargers just always find a way to fuck it up. So
yeah, they do. I didn't want any part of him. I was like, I'm just going to let him go. Like even when he throws the ball more this year.
But talent-wise, a good play. Again, I say it was a lot of these guys. I just want a little more than 9-1. He certainly's got the talent to absolutely do it and just be like, hey, this guy might be the best quarterback in the league. That kind of discussion. I could see that in November, even though he's not. Yeah. But look, I don't hate it. I worry about the team.
I'll say this too: at 9-1, it's a safer pick. I get back to back. I think a bigger shot here, but he's always in the conversation, which is half the battle. Sometimes it's just having a guy that's usually talked about a lot. But so I go again here, and we talk about winning the division. This is like a longer shot, but I'm going to go Jared Goff, 25 to 1.
He was on my list. Let me take him off.
Probably the worst pick so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying, you talk about winning the divisions. He's in they're plus 140 to win the division. That offense is never it's never the issue per se. They always put up 45 points a game. Their defense just atrocious. I'll take the shot at 25 to 1. We're talking about.
I like the boldness.
Thank you.
I like that play a lot too. I want to back you up there, Brian.
What do you mean too? I said I hated it. I didn't say I liked
it. Yeah.
He threw for 4,400 yards last year. He had 30 touchdowns, about 30 passing touchdowns. But if we want to be honest, like he could have been closer to the Patrick Mahomes 40-ish number. But like, how many of those were sniped at the 1 yard line? They're not going to have that same same kind of 1 yard line production. Yeah. Probably going to win the division. So I like that pick a lot.
And I'll say this too is part of the strategic part of this draft is I feel comfortable with Hurts and Herbert. That's 2 guys top 5 in the odds. So I think I can take that. That shot 25 to 1. Yeah,
that's actually a fun pick. It's way more fun if we all shit on each other's picks.
Yeah,
but it is a fun pick. I will say again, from a realistic betting standpoint, like if I was betting Goff, I would need like 50, 60 to 1, 25 to 1. They screwed all of us with these odds. But for the purpose of the draft, like there's not anybody that has great value.
He's 35 on DK. If we want to be able to, are we just saying?
No, I think it's easier just to roll shop.
Okay.
Yeah, which is funny because I actually use a free bet on DraftKings 40 to 1, but. Like I said, for the point of the draft, but you mentioned how Watson and like some of the other guys. I mean, you mentioned how Lamar is the same as guys like Trevor Lawrence. At 25 to 1, that's the same as Geno Smith and Deshaun Watson area. I mean, Justin Fields is 20 to 1. So, talk about that.
God, not with your money would I bet on that. Maybe someone will take Deshaun Watson, but
who is this back to? Is this back to me?
Who went first? Oh well, did you make 2 picks, Brad?
Yeah, I got Herbert and Goff.
Oh, Brian went first. I bet. Okay.
Yeah, I went first.
Cool.
Boy, I mean, all the big names.
Still stuck now. I took Goff.
I am.
Golden Boy.
4, 5, 6, 7. The first 8 guys in terms of odds are all off the board.
Like
I mean, this really gets slim pickings here. I mean, while I filibuster, how is Jordan Love 35 to 1? On what fucking planet is Jordan Love 35 to 1?
Right? Like when I saw that, I was like, there's no way. Like 35 to 1. I thought he'd be like 60 or 70 to 1.
Yes.
Like I'd much rather bet Matt Stafford than I would.
Golf looks a lot better when you look at these other options. I mean,
let's hit up FanDuel together and be like, will you give us minus 6,000 on Jordan Love not to win the MVP?
All right.
We just throw all of our money on it.
Not my favorite guy as a Viking fan, not my favorite guy at all. But he's got a lot of weapons around him. That's one of the best passing games in the league. I think Flores will help their defense, which will help them win games. I think they got so overrated from last year that they're being a little underrated. It's like, oh, they're not a 13-win team. Yeah, but could they win like 10 or 11 maybe? If they have a better defense, they could come close to that. I will Kirk Cousins at 50 to 1. I just think that's a long number. I think he should be shorter than some of these guys.
I agree.
He always plays. He's healthy. He's got Jefferson. Maybe Addison makes a difference. Hawkinson. That's a good offense. Do I think he's going to win? Would I really bet this? I'm actually 50 to 1. That's actually getting close to where I think about betting this. So to me, 50 to 1 is a decent number. I'll take Cousins at 50 to 1.
Kirk Cousins has like the best wide receiver in the league, probably, right? And then like a decent a few weapons around him this year. Like
Osborne's good, yeah.
Yeah, like how is Russell Wilson or Kenny Pickett or Jordan Love ahead of Kirk? This is so misplaced, I feel. Yeah.
It's a lot, but I get it. Like I get like why some of these guys are ahead of him. I don't get why Kenny Pickett's ahead of him, but like it's about the narrative. Like people love shitting on Kirk Cousins. Like he's not a media favorite, and it's just the reality. I bet him last year at 50 to 1. Gonna bet him again this year at 50 to 1.
It is sloppy line making. It is sloppy line making because like in baseball. But I forgot to text you guys this. I don't know if I showed you this, but DraftKings had Corbin Carroll minus 300 to win Rookie of the Year. The field was plus 250. Dela Cruz was plus 200. So it's like, why would I take Dela Cruz at 2 to 1 when I can take the entire field at plus 250? It's like some of these bookmakers, like sometimes they just give them too much credit. Sometimes they just do dumb shit. So
yep, that's 100%.
Who's up next?
I'm up next. I'm going with Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited at 40 to 1. I'm not in love with Russell Wilson by any means, but I can buy into all the offseason narrative. If they win that division, like holy shit. And with Sean Payton under the helm, he's going to get a lot of love. I don't think he's actually there, but at 40 to 1, I'd rather pick him than Jordan Love or Justin Fields at 20 to 1. So give me Mr. Unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I don't want any of those dudes at those prices. I mean, the thing is, no one's taken Dak yet.
Oh, I thought I was just gonna mention that.
How is no one taking Dak at 16? I don't know. I mean,
Who's
you
up?
just
Are you
made
up?
everything.
It's
Yeah,
you.
I'm up.
Yeah. I didn't take Dak because I don't
Yeah.
think he's going to play a full season, and
Yeah.
they're going to be passing the ball less this year.
Yeah.
So like, it makes sense like why you would like him, but I just didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see the upside in this
No,
competition.
I agree. I think really like what we're saying, there's just this like big gap in the middle of these odds that I'm like, I'm not touching any of these dudes at like Tua, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Geno, Jordan Love, even Derek Carr, like Kenny Pickett. None of those guys would I come close to touching. So I'm either gonna have to take Dak all the way up 16 to 1, or I'm gonna have to come all the way down to somebody like honestly start talking about non-quarterbacks who just like have like one of the best years from in terms of scrimmage yards and touchdowns, like someone like Christian McCaffrey. But I'm yeah, that's why I'm taking Dak there, just for the fact that like I'm not touching anybody
It's a
else.
good pick. That's the right. It's the right pick.
In that situation.
That's a loaded team. I hate
it is.
whole organization, and they always find a way to screw it up. Sort of like the Chargers.
Yeah.
And that San Fran game will stick to Dak for a while because he stunk. They had a chance to win that game. Like he's gonna have to overcome that. But that's a team that could definitely win 10 or 11 games. It's a really good team. It's a really good roster. They had Cooks. They had Gilmore.
Yep.
I don't hate it 16 to 1.
That's what it comes down to too. Is like is the ceiling for the Cowboys is just so much higher than every other team that I could take a quarterback for. And like if I can just get if they win, if they have a crazy year, win 13 games, and we can't like just assume that because someone got hurt so much they're going to get hurt. I know Dak is prone; he's got prior things, and that is something to take into consideration.
Yeah.
But there's also the likelihood that there's like at least 1 or 2 years in the middle of his career where he plays at least 16, if not 17 games at this point. So if just pick it this year at where I'm at in this draft, but making my next pick real quick. Now that is where I'm going all the way down and past like some of these 40 and 50 to 1s, and I will take Justin Jefferson at 100 to 1 at this point because I do think there's just such high correlation between he and Kirk that Kirk at 50 to 1 and I get double that for his best wide receiver. That's going to make him the majority of his yards, like a quarter of them at least, right? Then I'm feeling pretty good that if he gets to like 1900 yards, maybe he has like 17, 18 touchdowns. And now we're talking about the touchdowns coming into play as well. I think that would be a huge factor. So
does Tone Stamp have his mic on? Can you read all of our teams so far just to see? Maybe we can ask the listeners who has the best team so far.
Yeah, I can read your guys'.
If you need a minute, that's fine. We'll come back to you.
No, I have them all, but right now Josh has one extra pick. You guys still got one more round to go.
All right, let's wait till we finish the round and then we'll do it. I clearly have the best team, but I want to see what everybody else thinks. All right, who's up next?
Josh has back-to-back picks.
Yeah, I took 2. I took Justin Jefferson and Dak.
Okay. So I'm up next, and I am going to go with this. Was a tough one, right? Like now we're starting to really scrape the barrel here. Like who can win? Who's going to win?
Saturday night closing time. You've had a few beers. Miss America's not walking through that door. You're just looking for a little company.
So I'm gonna go with Geno Smith at 30 to 1. I don't like this is like one of those things where I'm just like, I just want to take a girl home who I know I've had a little bit of experience with. We've seen a little bit of success out of Geno, so the bar's closing and Geno's my date.
It's this or your solo dolo for the night. So
yeah,
there was a story about Joe Namath once in like the 60s. Somebody saw him out and he was with a girl who was a little below his standards, and somebody said to him, "Joe, what do you do with this girl? Like she wasn't exactly on the varsity." And Joe Namath goes, "It's 2:00 in the morning. Miss America's not walking through that door."
That's great.
He's a gem.
All right. Why can't I get this order right? It's Brad, then me.
Yep.
And then Brian twice. Okay.
Well, let's stop after Brian's first if you want to see what the teams look like.
Yes. All right. Most of the top guys are off. Tua is still there. As far as the guys that have the shorter odds, the guys still left. Tua at 16 to 1, Fields 20 to 1, Watson 25 to 1, Love 35
Fields is so
to 1.
funny there. I'm sorry. It's just
it really is. All these are ridiculous. Like Dak, okay, Dak is a good bet for the sake of the draft, but Dak shouldn't be 16 to 1. Dak should be all these guys should be like double their odds.
Everybody should be double, but like if Mac Jones at 61, even that, it's like your team has to win games.
Yeah, which they could be decent, but he's not going to blow away like
that.
He's he might get benched too. Fuck it. I'll go Watson 25 to 1. 2019, 2020, he's a top 5 quarterback. I know there's really no precedent for a guy missing 700 days coming back to play. And it's a popularity contest, and the media votes on it. He's not the most popular guy, but there's a lot of talent on that team. Just, this is an upside play. This is the fact that we're 4 picks deep into the draft. Again, would I bet it 25-1? No. Do I love this? No. But there's a chance here. Like, if he pops Cleveland, that's a good roster. That could be a 12-win team if everything breaks right. That could also be a 12-loss team if he's no good and the quarterback we saw last year. But he came back last year. He was rusty, but some of those games were bad weather. Remember, it was wind, it was cold, it was some adverse conditions. So again, none of these picks at this point are anything we all love, but I will take Watson just with the upside at 25-1.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
So this is the last one that we'll review, but
yeah,
similar to last time. I mean, I had 2 guys I was just looking at. Will mentioned both. He took the one one of the other ones. So I'll take the short shot. I hate the odds on it, like you say, but we talk about narrative. I'll take the bullet on Tua. Just because
I thought you were gonna take the bullet on Jordan Love. I was like, just talking about narrative.
He's still there, and I will say that offense is just so good, and he has the narrative of like, the injuries, like he kind of has that. I feel like people, the biggest thing with Watts with me was, as you mentioned, the popularity. I feel like there is a large group of people that feel for Tua and some of the stuff with these injuries, and that offense is just so good. He just puts up so much big numbers. I'll take it. I don't like I said, 16-1 is crazy to me, but he's still there.
There is the upside with those receivers, that team. There's absolutely the upside. I mean, you need to give me 16-1. He plays the whole season. I mean, that's a short pay, but I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slim pickings right now. All right, let's get a little review, Tone.
All right, so we'll start with Brian. Brian, with his first round, went Jalen Hurts at 12-1. Then he went Justin Herbert at 9-1. Jared Goff at 25-1, and Tua at 16-1. Then we have Will. You went Patrick Mahomes 7-1, Lamar Jackson at 15-1, Kirk Cousins at 50-1, and then Deshaun Watson at 25-1. Brad, you went Trevor Lawrence at 16-1, Josh Allen at 7-1, Russell Wilson at 40-1, and Geno Smith at 30-1. And then Josh, you went Joe Burrow at 75-1. Not 75-1. Sorry, yeah, plus 750. My bad. Going to the list here. Dak Prescott at 16-1. Justin Jefferson at 100-1. I think I may have missed a pick. Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed your Aaron Rodgers at 16-1 pick.
Yeah,
so
I'm for sure winning this thing. Yeah. Oh my god, that was not even close. Who?
You realize we have a whole bunch more awards, right? If all it takes is someone to land 100-1, they're probably gonna win.
That's so true.
I do like how once again we have Will and Josh against each other, because the whole time Will has to root for Kirk Cousins to light it up without Jefferson being at all.
It's just basically I have his best wide receiver every week against.
Yeah.
If Kupp didn't win it a couple years ago, I think a receiver winning it is very, very
yeah.
But hold on, because I agree, but now Brad's making me realize, like, if we all get like 4 to 5 picks for all of these different awards, we should all just be picking only like 50 to 100 to 1s, because like one of these might win us this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but for the quarterback,
if you just win two or three 9-10 to 1s, that's better than just taking 6 swings at 100-1. But hey,
yeah,
whatever strategy. I don't
think because my strategy for MVP, my goal was to get just quarterbacks that were in that 1 to 25-1. Like I didn't really take any long shots here, but I feel like MVP is just always, it's gonna be you.
Yeah, like
yes. All right,
I'm trying to think of like
a few more picks each.
Cam Newton was the last long shot to win, I think. Lamar Jackson.
No, Lamar and Mahomes were both 75-80 to 1.
Yeah.
Neither of them.
So there's a lot of big prices that have won, because Lamar.
That's why these prices suck.
Matt
now,
Ryan
they got beat with this.
Matt Ryan winning that year was a pretty big shock.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, these prices suck.
The prices suck. The prices suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Holy crap!
All right, Brian, you want to kick off round the second part of this? What do we just do?
How many more are we gonna go with?
I got a few I still like. We can go for a few more.
We're on round 5.
Yeah. Let's see. Can I have 2 here?
Can you pick one?
Yeah, I just picked one already.
So you need one more, right?
Yeah.
You and Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, well, I also because I have a pick. I can talk freely. I'm between Derek Carr and like a super long shot, like Daniel Jones. That's the tip I'm with, which is so funny that we're talking MVP and I'm talking Derek Carr, or I'll take Derek Carr. I'll take the shortest shot.
Right.
I once again, the same thing with kind of like Herbert. Just a lot of despite Jacobs' involvement, he just that offense still throws the ball a lot. So I'll take it there over, which is worse odds than the guy like Jordan Love. So I'll take Carr.
If my guy is not listed on FanDuel, is it okay if I take him at DraftKings, a real long
Yeah,
shot?
that's fine.
I'm not taking him now, but it's in my pick now.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm going to go at 300 to 1. I'm going to go Marcus Mariota. If Hurts gets hurt, that he could still slide in and win 10 or 11 games. Do I think it's going to happen? No. At 300 to 1. I mean, look, we do one of those rugby scrums with Hurts, and he's out in week 3, and Mariota comes in. He's had pedigree. He's made it to the playoffs, won a playoff game with that team around him. Could they win 10 or 11 games? Again, is it going to happen? No, but Mariota at 300 to 1.
I was gonna say, can I just
here?
make a commentary that it's so funny how because he is on FanDuel, he's the very last guy on FanDuel, same
Yes.
odds, but it's the same thing where it's so interesting to me like how they decide who they list because they list Carson Wentz at the same price. He's not even on a roster, so you know what I mean?
I didn't realize he's not on a team. Wow.
Yeah, you just know they do that so strategically because they know
Yes.
they're gonna get a few people almost joke betting it and saying it to their friends, and they'll take the free $5-10 here and there from insert people because it's funny that he's listed.
Well, it's the same thing, and not to get off NFL, but for MLB, I was looking for James Paxton for Cy Young, who's got really good numbers, like a point something whip, a sub-1 whip. He's had great numbers, and he's not listed on DraftKings. And then you have guys like Luis Severino's just been awful, like 100 to 1. Chris Sale's out for the year. He's like 151. It's like, who does these lines? Like, who thinks they're good? So, yeah.
They're just hoping that they grab somebody who's just blindly going like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Like betting on him.
Yep. All right. Who's up next?
I'm up next, and for my pick, I'm going to go ahead and take Matthew Stafford at 60 to 1. Just think I like the price.
Value.
If he plays the whole season, he has a chance to put up huge numbers, but we know he's not playing the whole season, so we'll just go ahead and call that what it is.
Decent value. Don't hate it.
This is 5 rounds is enough, right?
I think 5's plenty. Yeah,
I kind of have one more I wanted to go.
Let's go 6. Let's go 6.
Yeah, let's go 6.
All right, so
nobody else picked the non-quarterback yet. There's still a couple guys. I think we should have 1 or 2 non-quarterbacks. Where
I picked my first one already, but
I have my non-quarterback. So
you're up, right? Or you just went?
No, I just went. It's up to you. You get the double.
Word. Cool. Yeah. I mean, so I have 2 picks. So okay, I do need to take my. All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey 200 to 1. I do think there's a world where he just gets like basically 1,000 yards receiving and 1,400 yards rushing. I know that he needs to play and stay healthy. I understand that. We all understand that. So if he can do that, we're good to go. I mean, he's going to get a lot of usage with Trey Lance starting. I don't know how long that's going to last.
I don't think Lance is starting.
Well, Darnold hasn't been officially ruled the starter.
I think it's Purdy. If it's not, it's
either
Purdy
or
hurt.
He's not going to be back until he's still going to be back later in the season.
Not what I had understood.
I don't think he's ready. Either way, if it's Brock Purdy, that's wonderful. I would still like that, honestly. Yeah. But I didn't think he was going to be back for the full season necessarily. But maybe you can look that up real quick. If he does, great. Like I'm still happy with that. With C-Mac getting everything he needs, CMC, whatever you want to call him. I don't like I said between
we can go quicker here. I mean, we're 200, 300.
My last one is another long shot that I'm just going to go, and I want to kind of cover a defensive player, and I'm going to take Bosa at 200 to 1 because if he stays healthy,
which one you got to pick a Bosa?
Yeah, he's just trying to get a double package.
Yeah,
this is bullshit.
He should lose his pick.
Do you really think there's Joey Bosa MVP odds available?
No,
I thought that's who you meant.
There's no Joey Bosa for MVP out here. Nick Bosa, 200 to 1 also on the 49ers, capable of, like I said, maybe 25 sacks if he goes bananas. So look, when he's healthy, like it seems pretty like clear cut that he's like the best defensive end in the league, and pretty much everybody agrees on that. So I'm still in that same boat with him at 200 to 1.
All right, you got your 2 picks. I'm going to go with mine. I'm going with Bijan Robinson, 200 to 1. I picked him to win Offensive Player of the Year. I'm just going to stick by my guns here. If he plays in this offense with this good offensive line, he could absolutely go berserk. And if he puts up like some, Marshall Faulk numbers, then we'll see what happens. Adrian Peterson numbers, he has a chance.
Yeah,
not horrible. I will go Not on FanDuel, but he's at DraftKings. Mike White, 200 to 1. Same thing in Mariota. If Tua gets hurt, when Tua gets hurt, he's got great weapons. He's got a good coordinator. Again, is it going to happen? But remember, Kurt Warner won the MVP once. I don't even know what price. He wasn't even on anybody's radar. Trent Green gets hurt. He comes in. He's got the greatest offense ever. So Mike White's going to be. I think he played well a couple of years ago. You know, he was hurt last year. So I don't know.
What you're saying is that in this MVP race, it's just gonna be Will rooting for my quarterbacks to get hurt.
Yes.
Is that what we're getting at?
It's literally what he's doing.
Yes.
Go down, go down.
And then I'll round it out.
Go down.
I know Tone was saying that it's already over because Josh got Joe Burrow early, so I'll take a 150 to 1 Jamar Chase. As we're talking about wide receivers like have the ability to transcend yards and whatnot. I'll go with Jamar Chase, who I think, has already been in the spotlight a lot. 150 to 1, he'll be my non-quarterback.
Okay, 150 to 1, it's hard to argue. You just worry, like, if he's having a good year, then Burrow's going to have a good year, and I feel like the tie goes to the quarterback. But, hey, 150 to 1, we're all reaching here. I will reiterate for the 9th time here, there's just no good bets out of all these. These are all just shitty odds, man. I don't know. Is there anything that's actually worth betting?
I will say I don't hate – I took it at 14 to 1. I don't hate like a Hurts look, like even at 12 to 1. I don't hate that as a bet.
Yeah, don't love it either.
Which is funny that the first pick after that, I really have nothing else. That was it.
Yeah, I've kind of hit when I don't really love anything like this. And honestly, I do like Pat Mahomes. The fact that he is even with like 2 other dudes essentially is something to me that I still think he should be favored over them, and he's not. So that might be worth it right there. But as far as tying up your money at 7 to 1 like that, I hate it, and so that's why I'm like I just lean towards a sprinkle on something that would hit pretty hard at $100 on something that's 100 to 1 or 200 to 1, and just be like whatever, that's $100 that I'm not worried about it being tied up or not. You know what I mean? So.
Yep, totally agree. Yeah. All right, do you want to do Summer League before we bounce? We're running long.
Yeah, I'll just give picks. I don't need to like go into like my takes about how Wemby's still good, Scoot's good, but I do want to say for people who are betting Summer League right now, like today, the two big couple of things that I really like are Miami over Phoenix. You can still get that at -4.5. Phoenix is downright awful. I faded them with the Bucks the other night. That worked out. And then Indy is just so good. And this is the last game that you're going to see Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard and Isaiah Jackson and a few other guys like probably aren't coming back out for the next couple games, so that you can still bank on them getting 25 minutes. So I'd like Indy -5.5. I am taking Jarris Walker at 15 plus points as +114. I'm also taking him 20 plus points +320. I'm telling you right now, I enjoyed watching the Pacers versus the Wizards because the Pacers were so good and it was like decent basketball. And dude, Jarris Walker is the truth. Honestly, one of the better defenders on the floor already. Took 13 shots, only made 3 of them, 1 for 5 from 3. But the usage is there for the Rook, who was his first ever NBA action. I think he's going to be really, really good. So the plus money on 15 is great, and then the ladder with 20 is awesome. You can get it at +950 for him to get 25 as well. That might be worth a little sprinkle for the ladder as well to finish that off. Orlando's all right. Anthony Black's going to be good, but other than him, Kevon Harris is at least like a bit of a vet. He had 21 in the first game, so they're all right. But like this Pacers team is bringing out like legit NBA players. So and then the only other thing I would say is I am looking at Rookie of the Year because I watched Wemby twice. And he's good. Like, let's all relax after one bad game. It's fine. Like, he took it in stride. He's gonna.
He played good yesterday.
Yeah, and he had 27 against a bad Hornets team, but like, fine, he looked great. So when he plays close to the basket, dude, he's nice. But here's what I just want to talk about real quick. Scoot is so freaking good. All right, and I know he got a little bit hurt, but he can get by everybody. So Rookie of the Year stuff right now. There's 3 guys that I'd actually bet on right now. Not Wemby at -130. Scoot at +400 on DraftKings, a little bit better than FanDuel. And it's best odds. Amin is +3,700 on FanDuel and +2,500 pretty much everywhere else, including DraftKings and other books. Dude is very, very good. He and Scoot both got hurt, but I'm looking at guys who can put up stats. And Scoot is going to have the ball in his hands and put up a bunch of stats. Amin is going to have the ball in his hands on every possession and put up a bunch of stats. So at 37 to 1 on FanDuel, 6'7" point guard that had like complete control of the game when I was watching him play the Trailblazers and Scoot. And then Cam Whitmore is a really solid addition. They're going to play well together. Like Amin Thompson at 37 to 1 is a legit shot there. And the last one I'll throw out is Keontae George because head over to I might ask you to put something on that for me, Will, at Bet Rivers 100 to 1 because I can't access that. But 100 to 1 for Keontae George is awesome. He's 80 to 1 on FanDuel, 75 on DraftKings. I like the fact that like the talk about him by people who like the athletic guys covering Utah and stuff like that is like, yo, this dude can ball. He dropped 33 in that first game. He got all the way down to 16, was a complete steal for this team. He could have gone in the top 10, but then people were like, oh, he only shot 34% from 3 last year. And it's like, because he was a volume shooter.
Who is this again?
Keontae George from Baylor. He's on Utah. So the 100 to 1 for him on is definitely something that I'm gonna at least touch a little bit.
80 to 1 at Bet Rivers.
It's down to 80 to 1.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yeah, 80 to 1 FanDuel as well. They saw the other prices and shopped them.
All right. Well, enjoy the Derby. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what should we draft tomorrow. Offensive Player of the Year. We should do something that's not Offensive Rookie of the Year is different enough, or Offensive Player of the Year is different enough. I don't know. We can discuss it. We'll figure something out.
Cool.
But until then, enjoy the Derby. Enjoy. Boy, this is one of the slower times of the year. So we'll find some ways to make it interesting, make you some money. But thank you to Sleeper. Thank you to Pickett Sports. Good luck with all of your plays if you make any. See you tomorrow.